I have a personal opinion on your case. I'm just an agent of the family court. But it's pretty clear to me that you were the one that called the welfare check on your wife and your son. You can ask the police. I admit it. I own up to it. I called that welfare check on my ex-wife, and I stand by why I did it. And when I go to court, I'm standing by why I did it. Because I was worried about my son. My ex-wife was not responding to me. I had just cause to call for that welfare check, and I'm not going to let anyone tell me otherwise. Okay, yeah. What are you calling for today, Mr. Riley? Calling today because it's the same crap. That no one wants to see it from my perspective. My ex-wife is not answering my calls. When I want to speak to my son in between my supervised visits, I'm not trying to be a pain in the ass or anything like that. I'm trying to pick reasonable times to speak to her. She's not picking my calls up. There's no way for me to talk to my son. So I'm telling the people of family court or whatever, do something about it. I understand that your custody agreement does not have a provision that says that you're allowed phone calls or forbids phone calls to your son. There's that gray area there. And based on that, based on the circumstances of your wife going to a police precinct and claiming that you filed a false welfare check, I suggest just lay off the phone calls for a bit. Because at this point, it does feel like you're abusing the privilege. This is really like the Twilight Zone. And the funny thing is, no one, again, sees it from my perspective. Everyone jumps on me, says I'm doing something wrong. I'm supposed to lay off calling my son? It's bad enough that I know through my own fault that I only get to see him twice a month. So now, in between those two times, I can't FaceTime him, I can't call him, and you're telling me to lay off. Like, how is that right? Okay. The best I can do right now is pass on the information to your ex-wife, let her know what's going on, you're trying to contact her, but at this point in time, we're not going to be enforcing any phone calls. We're not going to be telling her that she needs to call you back or anything like that. We're not enforcing that because, again, there's no provision in your custody agreement that says that these phone calls are mandatory. But, again, there's no provision saying they're not. So, not enforcing anything. All of these people that hate me, that watch me every day, imagine if they were told from family court, child services, whatever, we're not going to enforce things with the other parent. How is that legal? How is that fair to me? And if it was a mandatory provision, we would be happy to enforce it. And we would be happy to tell your ex-wife, 4 o'clock, make sure you call him. Or make sure you accept his call, this or that. But there is nothing that schedules these calls. There's nothing that sets a limit. Maybe you guys should have thought about that beforehand, but again, we're not enforcing it because there's nothing to be enforced. Yeah, I'm already dealing with court crap, and I've appealed decisions and seen a judge multiple times. I'm not going to court to add a phone call provision, all right? Is she coming to the supervised visit this Saturday or not? What am I in for this Saturday? I have not spoken to her. I will find that out. She's scheduled to be there, but I have a feeling she's not going to show up. She did not get a strike the last time because she was speaking with the police. That was considered an excused absence. So I will call and find out if she is attending this Saturday. Of course. All right, well, when you speak to her, next time you speak to her, tell her that the next time I see her, whether it's this Saturday or whenever, we're going to talk about the phone calls. Because, and in a polite way, but I'm entitled to talk to my son. All right? Look, I don't have to go over with you the provisions that are in your custody agreement. You know what's going on. You know the situation. I have to ask this question. Is there a reason that you're not returning your ex-husband's phone calls? Because he is trying to get in contact with his son. He just wants to hear his voice.
Yeah, because frankly, it's ridiculous. My son is a toddler. He barely understands, like, phone call conversation as it is. But beside all that, the welfare check that my ex-husband called on me pissed me off. He has abused the privilege of phone calls in this custody agreement, and I'm not putting up with it anymore. Every time he calls me, it's borderline harassment.
All right, I don't think he's going to be going to court to add that provision or anything like that, but it might be in your best interest to just humor him here and there so he doesn't have any ammo against you. That's just a personal opinion of mine. I don't want to see this escalate any further. This phone call stuff's pretty, again, personal opinion, pretty annoying. and you know how he gets with these things, so...
Sorry, no, I'm not bending over backwards for his demands, because he becomes very demanding when it doesn't go his way, when I don't return his calls right away. Like, that's what got us in a welfare check situation to begin with.
As someone that knows your family and has been dealing with these supervised visits now for quite some time, I really don't want to deal with a confrontation between you and your ex-husband coming this Saturday, the supervised visit. I don't want there to be any hostility.
Yeah, so about that, I'm not going to be going to that supervised visit this Saturday. Okay, I'm skipping that one too.
Yeah, I had a feeling. Do you have an excused absence for this upcoming Saturday that I can jot down forward to my supervisor?
No, I'll take the strike. The last time that I blew off the supervised visit, I was with the police, so I didn't get a strike for that. So I'm going to take the strike for this one. I don't want to see him right now. I really don't. I want to enjoy my maternity leave. I want to enjoy my daughter, and I don't want to deal with his BS drama.
All right, I'll reiterate from the last phone call. I don't advise you to just accept a strike like that. Those strikes are there for a reason, for emergencies, but your decision. I just hope you're not waiting for him to be prosecuted because of the false welfare check. Because who knows how long that investigation is going to be, and there's no telling whether or not he will be prosecuted for that. So I just hope you're not avoiding these supervised visits thinking that one day he's just going to be in jail or something like that.
No, I don't care about his... I pressed the charges. I did what I needed to do. I'm not worried about him. I'm not thinking about him. I want to enjoy my maternity leave. I want to enjoy my daughter. And going to supervised visits right now and dealing with his drama when it's not even about our son half the time, I don't need to deal with that.